Hey guys, Redneck Mini 14 here, and today I'm going to be talking about the differences between the Henry and Marlin lever actions as far as 22s go. So, the models that I have for my examples are my Henry standard 22 lever action. Henry doesn't really have any special names for their 22s, the standard ones. They have their model numbers. It's like H001 is what this one's called, but everyone just calls them a 22 Henry lever action. And then we have the Marlin 1897, which is not the best example for a Marlin. Of course, there's the 39A, which is the more popular and more produced gun than the 1897, and then of course there's a reproduction of the 1897 that was made like in the 80s and 90s, and I think maybe in the earlier 2000s. It was basically a reproduction of this gun that had newer features that the newer 39As have, but this is the only Marlin 22 lever action I possess as of right now. So that's what I'm going to be using for this video. Now, the first talking point is probably the biggest talking point, and that would be price. Now, the Henrys are cheaper rifles, and basically that's because I guess they're more cheap to make than the 39As or the 1897s. Your standard Henry 22 lever action, this one at Walmart for just the standard price, no discounts or anything, is around $300. The ones with the octagonal barrels and the regular blued receiver, those are around $400. And then the Golden Boys, which have the brass receiver and barrel band, those are around $500. And now we're just talking about the 22 long rifles. I'm not really sure what the 22 Magnums or 17 HMRs cost. We're just talking about 22s. The 39A, if you get a brand new one, if you can find one, or maybe like a slightly used one, it'll probably be around between $600 and $700. Used one, if you want a good quality one, I wouldn't expect to pay any less than $500. And then if you get a reproduction 1897, which is like a 39A, and except it has this straight grip stock like this, octagonal barrel, and cowboy sights like this. I guess that's really the only differences between that and the 39A. That's going to be probably around $1,000, and you're only going to find that on the used market as of right now because they don't make those anymore, and they run a much higher price than a 39A. Not exactly sure why. I guess it's demand. Guess they're popular. Anyway, another big talking point is the levers and the action. The lever on a Henry does not go all the way to the receiver, which is kind of more like a Winchester. Not to mention the lever is very, very smooth right out of the box, which can be a good thing or it can be a bad thing, depending on how you look at it. Because let's say you're going rabbit hunting and you have a one-handed carry, and you're carrying it like this, on half cock with a round in the chamber and you have it at your side, and you see a rabbit, so then you pull your gun up to your shoulder, and your lever gets snagged on your pants, and it does that. So then you have to readjust your lever, cock your hammer back, and by the time the rabbit hears all that, he might be long gone. So, just something to think about. Of course, when you're just plinking around, having a smooth lever is a good thing. Now on the Marlins, the metal or the lever goes all the way up to the stock. Not quite as smooth, especially right out of the box. It's not going to be that smooth. It'll smooth out over time, over several rounds being fired, but it's still, I mean, this gun is probably close to 100 years old, and it's still not as smooth as this Henry right out of the box. So that's just another talking point. Also, the bolt. The bolt on a Marlin is actually, when it's closed, it becomes part of the receiver. So the bolt actually is what closes the whole receiver. You know, it's all one big piece. Whereas the Henry, the bolt is separate, and it's actually internal inside the receiver. So that's just another thing. Also, the half cock on this, you can't really tell it's on half cock that easy because it doesn't. You can't see it. You can't see a gap between the hammer and the receiver. Whereas on the Marlins, you can. There's just a little bit of a gap there, and that's how you know it's on half cock. Also on the Marlins, the newer ones, there will be a hammer block safety right here, and it's not on the older ones, it's on the newer ones. But the Henry does not have any other type of a safety other than the half cock, which for people that like cowboy action and just cowboy guns in general, they don't like having an extra safety. It doesn't really matter to me if it has an extra safety or not. In my opinion, it just adds an extra layer of safety, which can be a good thing if you're an inexperienced shooter. Let's see. Both guns have straight grip stocks. Well, the 1897 does. The 39A has a curved stock. Both are good stocks and doesn't make or break a deal when it comes to me shopping for a firearm. I'm not going to really get into the butt plates because this is a reproduction butt plate, and I put this on myself, so this is not an original piece. The original one that was on here when I got this gun was cracked, or well, it was broken, and I replaced it with this. And then this one, it fits really, really well. So that when the 1897 was first made, it would have been just like that. Let's see, what else? The Henry has an 18.5-inch barrel. The Marlin has a 24-inch barrel, and that results in their being able to have a longer sighting radius and more ammo capacity. Now, before this video, I loaded each one of these. Of course, they're not loaded now, but I loaded each one to see exactly how many rounds each one will hold. The new 39As will hold 19 long rifles, 21 longs, and 26 shorts. This older 1897 holds 17 long rifles Not exactly how many longs or shorts it'll hold, but I guess this one holds less because of this older design of a tube. It allows for, it takes up some space for ammo. Now the older ones, you load them like this. You got to push this button in, pull the tube up, and the tube does not come off, it stays there, and you load it through here. Now on the newer Marlins and the Henrys, they load like this. You twist and pull out, and you can pull it all the way out, and you load it through here. The Henry can hold 15 long rifles, 17 longs, and 21 shorts. And of course, the newer ones have the internal tube is what pulls out. The older ones is the external tube that pulls out. Now the Henrys have kind of your standard rear sight with a hooded front sight. That's just this model. The ones with the octagon barrels have I guess they're semi-buckhorn flip-up sights, and then kind of a cowboy type blade on the front, no hood. The 1897 has semi-buckhorn rear sights and the cowboy style blade on the front. And the older ones, if you can see this hole right here, that's where a tang sight would be. You know, flip up tang sight for a much longer sighting radius. The reproductions, I believe, had similar type sights. I think they were flip up, and then had a similar type front sight like that. The new Marlin 39As have the rear is a folding buckhorn or a semi-buckhorn, and then the front is similar to this, where it has a hood and a blade. It also has a gold bead on the inside for easier visibility. Now, neither one of these guns have checkering on the stocks because this one's old and checkering didn't really exist back then. This one just doesn't come with checkering at all. I'm not even sure if any of the 22 Henrys have checkering. I'm pretty sure the 4570 and one of the 3030 models does. But Marlin, the newer ones, the 39As, the reproduction 1897, the 336s, all of those, the standard models have checkering on the forend and the stock, which is definitely a plus to me, or for me, because it just looks better and it gives you a better grip, and that's always a plus. The Marlins are takedown. You just take the screw off, or take the screw out, pull the hammer back, and then break the gun apart. Henrys, you can't do that. To take this gun apart, you have to take out these. There's 2 screws like this here and on the other side, so there's 4 screws there. And then there's a screw up here, right there, that you have to take out, and that allows you to take off the stock. And I'm not sure where you go from there. I've never taken it apart. Probably very, very rarely will ever take this gun apart. Whereas this gun, it's a piece of cake to take apart. You know, you just cock your hammer back, undo the screw, break the gun apart. The newer ones are going to be tighter and not so easy to break apart like that. You might have to hit it against something hard. And then of course you have your bolt and your firing pin. And that's really all you have to take apart on this gun to clean it, to give it a good thorough cleaning. And that's just another plus for the Marlins, in my opinion. I really would like to get a 39A someday, because I just think that they're better guns than the Henrys. Not that the Henrys are bad guns. The Henrys are very good quality guns for the price. But I just think that the Marlins are a better built gun. They're more expensive, but that extra cost is for the quality. Now, of course, Marlin has their little they took a bunch of their guns off of the production line so that Remington, who bought out Marlin, could fix their machining issues and all the problems they've been having in recent years. But supposedly the 39A and the 1894, all the guns that aren't in production right now, are going to be back into production sometime soon. They still make their 336, and I think they might also make their 1895 and their Model 60s and their 795s, and maybe even their bolt actions. But someday soon their lever actions are going to come back and be back on the shelves with the quality that they've had before. So anyway, I think that's all the differences that there are between these two guns that are worth mentioning. Subscribe to my channel, like me on Facebook. I'm Redneck Mini 14, and until next time, be safe.